Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the Netdata 2.0 Release Meetup. Let's maybe give it a minute for others to join in, and we can get straight to this release that we are extremely excited about. Okay, I think we're good to start. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, I think we're good to start. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, uh, depending on where you're joining in from. We are extremely excited to talk about the Netdata 2.0 release. And with me, okay, firstly, I'm Satya, a technical product manager here at Netdata. And with me, I have Sham, who's also from the product team. And of course, our VP of technology, Rolf, to walk you through some of the insights and highlights from our 2.0 release, and also to take any questions that you may have for us. To run you through the release notes, Cham, can you do the honors?
Sure, I can get started. So let me just make this a bit bigger on my screen. Yeah. So this is a big momentous release for us because it's the first time that Netdata is jumping one major version release number upwards. So we're going to all the 1.x series to 2.0, and it's really showing a change in direction for Netdata to becoming a more professional monitoring solution as well. You know, Netdata has always been used by users from all kinds of different backgrounds, whether it's home labs, whether it's large enterprises, or even organizations like NASA have used the Netdata agent for ages. But what we are trying to do now is to make Netdata a more complete monitoring solution, so that it's not just one of your options to do monitoring, but that it can do all of the heavy lifting that you would need to monitor large enterprises and large organizations. So this is the first step. There's a lot that's going to come up in our roadmap. Maybe we can have a meetup that's focused on the roadmap a few weeks from now. So let's, if you can scroll down a bit, Satya. Yeah. So the one major highlight, of course, and you would have probably heard about it from all the emails that we've been sharing, and some of you might have tried it out already. Netdata finally has native Windows support. So we have a native Netdata agent that runs on Windows machines, and it runs on even pretty old Windows machines. We've tested this up to anything that's running Windows Server 2012 upwards. So most of the Windows machines that you have out there, whether they're for personal use or professional use or service, you should be able to monitor them with Netdata now. This is also a feature that our users have been asking for a really long time, and we thank you for the patience. It wasn't easy. Windows has a lot of let's say idiosyncrasies that we had to handle. But finally, we've been able to get the entire Netdata agent with all of its features and all of its capabilities running on Windows. And this means that you get all of the features like anomaly detection, the alerts, the ability to create Netdata parents, all of the collectors working, Netdata functions, access to all the metrics and the logs. All of that is available. So this is why it took this long. We wanted to do it properly. So if you have access to Windows machine, the easiest ways to understand how this works is just to try it out. It should, as all Netdata installations, just take a minute or two to get set up and see the charts and see the dashboards. And the Windows event log viewer is also pretty interesting to understand what's going on with your Windows system. Before we go ahead, maybe I can show a quick demo of how this looks like.
Sham, I have
Yeah,
the
so
machine. Yeah, good.
we have the space here. I think we have two nodes that are online. One of them is my PC, and the other one is my laptop. So this is our test Windows space at the moment. And you can see on the table of contents, we have all of the stuff that we usually have. Um, and if you if you go to the alerts, I think that we have an active alert as well that's already catching. Probably my PC running out of storage. Yes. And if you go to the logs tab for a second, you can see how the Windows Event Explorer looks like. So as you can see, it's really straightforward to use, and it's fast. In some ways, it's faster to use than running your PowerShell commands and waiting for it to load the Windows Event logs. So this is something that Windows admins would be really happy about, I hope. And we also have Netdata functions working on Windows. So if you go to the top tab, it will show you the processes view. So this is just all of the processes, all of the applications that are running on this Windows machine, and you can sort it by whatever field that you're interested in. You can see all the uptimes. You're probably going to see things like Google Chrome eating up all your memory. This is where you would see it, and you have the histogram charts on top. You can adjust them as you will, and really what we're hoping to do here is to really give all of the Netdata goodness to the Windows users as well. And of course, you get anomaly detection and all of the rest. So we don't need to go into like a fully detailed demo. I'm sure everybody would like to try it out for themselves.
Yes, and also I think before we move ahead, we will have a dedicated webinar for the Windows agent and all the things that we have currently implemented and what is in store coming in the near future. I think we'll have a dedicated session
Yeah.
for the
And the
Windows.
other thing that I didn't mention is that it automatically discovers if you have Windows applications running. So I think in that space, probably you'd see things like the .NET framework that has been automatically discovered, and under applications you can see .NET framework, for example. You can see that it recognizes that I have Hyper-V set up, and my containers are automatically being detected and showing up. I have not done any extra configuration. All of this is happening out of the box. Okay.
I think the one thing that may be good to bring up is the installation in itself. It remains
Yes.
more or less like we do with Linux.
Yeah, I think the only difference is that here you have the option of a graphical user interface for the installer, because many Windows users are obviously familiar with that. So you have the option to download an MSI file, for both the stable version and the nightly version of the Netdata agent. You can install it that way, or you have a kickstart command here, which you just copy and paste into PowerShell as the admin, and it will just install Netdata, no questions asked. Works in silent mode, and it's also helpful if you want to automate it and install across an entire set of systems.
Thanks, Sham. I think this will be a point where we move to the next
Yeah, yeah.
highlight.
Let's keep going. So the next one is the improvements that we've made to process monitoring, which is a part of the apps plugin inside the Netdata agent, and we've we've made significant changes here to make this more user friendly or usable. So in the past, how this was working is there was a fixed set of processes that uh, were mapped. So you would be able to see them as separate processes in your charts, and all of the other processes would get grouped into a bucket called other. So you would usually see a big other bucket that's kind of dominating your charts. And then you have the option to customize by manually going to a file and adding regex patterns which matched certain process names to certain uh, strings that we would be looking for to find a particular application or a process, and that would show up in the chart. But what we're doing now is we've introduced automated grouping. So we are able to automatically categorize processes to a large extent. And this significantly reduces the amount of manual configuration that you would need to do. And it also eliminates this unknown of having a large other dimension. So now you have the dimensions and the charts showing actual value based on what's actually there. We have a blog post that's out about this as well, from Costa. So it goes into the depths of how you can actually improve your process monitoring. And process monitoring encompasses a lot of different things, whether it's to do with the compute or memory and storage. So the fact that you have this extra level of visibility will be hopefully useful to a lot of users.
Yeah, I think at this point, Sham, I see quite a few questions. It may be good to take them, and maybe
Sure.
Rob, you can step in to answer some of those. I think one of them is not necessarily to do with Netdata 2.0, but I'm going to beam it on the screen anyways. It's from day 2. Can you help me configure Netdata on local hosts to monitor multiple servers? Do you want to take a quick check at this, or should we take this offline, Rolf? Rolf, if you're speaking, we don't hear you.
I have a feeling that Ralph's video is stuck as well.
Okay, so this one, Tetu, we will definitely be able to help you on configuring and setting up Netdata to monitor multiple servers. But maybe we can take that offline. You can reach out to us on Discord, on community, and wherever you can find us, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Let me now go to the next question. Yes, I think this probably is something that we could take up at the end of the discussion. Sorry about that. I think we'll answer this towards the end. Aynat, I think let's look at some other questions. There's something from Lewis. Okay, yes, the answer is yes, Lewis. We support the Windows agent on non-desktop environments as well. So
Yeah, and you know this is something new, so we're looking forward to feedback. And I think there might be a few kinks to iron out as people try it out in various different kinds of environments. But yes, it's been designed in a way that it should work on all Windows environments. I think the
another
other
question.
question from Luis has been answered in the chat by Ralph, but I can answer here as well. Yes, they are full blown Netdata agents, so you can use them as parents. We would still recommend that if you have both Windows and Linux servers in your infrastructure, then it's preferable to have your Linux servers be the parents, just because they are a bit more optimal compared to Windows systems in general, not just for Netdata purposes. But if you only have access to Windows machines, you can completely make one of them the parent if you want to.
Perfect. Thanks, Sham, for taking that one. I think Rolf is answering some of the other questions on the chat. Now we also see Rolf is back. But for now, I think we can move on to the next sections and take up other questions as and when they come up.
Sure. So the next area where we made significant strides forward is network monitoring as a use case in general. So network monitoring is something that Netdata has done to a certain extent. For example, SNMP monitoring with the SNMP collector has existed for a long time in Netdata, but it required a lot of manual configuration, unlike most of the rest of Netdata. And based on feedback from our users, from the community, we've made a lot of updates to the SNMP collector so that it's much more out of the box in terms of the user experience now. You don't have to manually configure and set up your MIBs and stuff like that. It automatically, all you need to do is point it at the SNMP device in terms of the IP. If there's the SNMP community string that you need to set up, you need to provide that, but that's it. It should automatically pull in the data and populate a dashboard. There'll be summary charts, metrics will be organized into different sections, just like you see in all of the other Netdata collectors. So this is how the SNMP collector is now working, and we've also added the ability to be able to map the devices based on what type it is. Is it a firewall? Is it a switch? Because you might have 100 SNMP devices or hundreds of SNMP devices, and you might want to look at them within certain subcategories. So you might want to see how all your switches are performing, or how all your Cisco switches are performing, or how your Fortinet firewalls are performing. And you want to see them together. You want to group them. Now you should be able to do all of those things. We are actively adding more capabilities as well. For example, adding support for more device-specific metrics. So if you have a Fortinet firewall versus having a Cisco router, there might be device-specific metrics and device-specific information. So we plan on adding this as well, especially for the most popular device types out there. And we've also improved the performance with the redesigned Network Viewer plugin. So there's been significant improvements in performance. I think we have some numbers as well, Satya, right?
Yes, I think we tried this out with one of the users who had more than 600K network connections, sockets basically, on a system. And in the past, it took more than 10 minutes and things kind of went out of hand. And with the current improvements, I think it's a second or two to gather all of these details, put it on our network viewer. And yeah, it's pretty nifty right now. So I think that was a great improvement which Costa and the team worked on.
Moving on to the next section. So there's been a lot of changes on the sign-in flow as well, both on the standard Netdata SSO as well as on the enterprise SSO. On the enterprise side, we now have support for SCIM. There's more capabilities there if you want that level of control. But on the standard Netdata SSO, you would have seen that with Netdata Agent 2.0 release, there is now a splash screen that you land at instead of landing directly on the dashboard. And the splash screen tries to provide you some basic information about this current agent, what it is, what it does, where your configuration files are stored, and then it asks you to sign in by default. You have an option to proceed unauthenticated, but as the admin or the person who's setting this up, you have the option also to force authentication if you want to. So if you're concerned about unauthorized access or the vulnerability of having an open dashboard, then you can configure it so that only authenticated access is allowed.
Yeah, I think, I mean, maybe a little bit more on this. So the secured access is, let's say, the most debated topic in the recent past. And I think, like Sham started off during the introduction, we intend for Netdata to be, let's say, a one-stop solution to consolidate various observability tools that different types of users, customers may have. And, you know, having a secure access to any aspects of Netdata, whether it's a local agent dashboard, or the cloud and our on-prem offering, we're moving towards a more secure solution. That was one of the reasons. And then, of course, right, there's also uh, putting it honestly, us looking at what are the capabilities that we want to completely keep open source, and what are the aspects that we could potentially monetize and help right Netdata as an organization grow going forward. So it's a bit of both. It has been debated, and if there are any questions around that, we are more than happy to take it. But just to bring up that, and also on the enterprise SSO option, when Sham brought it up, we've had this now for, I think, a couple of months. The one thing that was missing in the service provider initiated flow was we were not supporting a DNS text record, which meant that for the first sign up, every user had to initiate it from your uh, uh, single sign-on provider, whether it was Okta or Azure AD or whatever else. But now with the DNS text record, it's only needed once during configuration, and any users sign in using the single sign-on can happen without initiating anything from um, the provider side. So it can all be done from Netdata's sign-in page. So that was the intention. This is feedback that we received from some of our customers, and we've implemented it. And we also have a number of let's say enhancements that are planned on the SCIM integration aspect, for you to integrate your Active Directory uh, for user authorization, not just for authentication. Just wanted to quickly bring that up. Yeah, Sham, over to you.
Yep. So the other thing that we've launched recently is Netdata's referral program. Satya, if you can quickly maybe go to the space just to show people what this is or where it is. So on the bottom left of your screen, now there's a gift icon. So if you click it, what it will show you is your referral invite link. And you can copy the invite link and you can share it with anybody. And they can sign up using the link. And what happens is if they subscribe to a Netdata plan, whether it's Netdata Business or Netdata Home Lab, then they get a 10% discount. And you would, as the referrer, would get a 10% um, affiliate bonus on their subscription fees. And you get this, you keep getting this until it hits a max of $1,000 for that space. And you can invite any number of users. You can have any number of referred spaces. So we know that a lot of people in the community have seen a lot of value in Netdata, and they really enjoy using the product. So this is a way where you can share that with your friends, people that you know, and hopefully you get something back in return as well. So we hope it works out for everyone in the long term. Going back, I think Satya, you're the best guy to talk about both these features.
Yes, so we've had the alert silencing on our cloud UI for quite some time. The one feature that was missing was to set recurrent rules, maybe for a maintenance window, or to just say, a different notification rule during work days versus weekends. All of that is now possible. So you can, basically at a room level, or an alert level, or even a space level, have different rules to say when you want notifications to be active and when you want them silenced uh, for a specific alert or a group of alerts, or whatever else. And we've basically had some of our let's say enterprise customers extremely impressed, because this was a key feature that was missing in the past. So this is now available. Also, the next feature around reachability notifications. Uh, we've made a few changes on the reachability notifications. The first thing being, you will not receive hundreds of thousands of reachability notifications if you have set up a parent agent or enabled streaming on Netdata. So if, for instance, a parent agent is being upgraded or restarts in the past, you would receive an unreachable notification for all of the child agents one by one. But now we've kind of grouped or coalesced all of these notifications into one. So as long as we know that a set of agents are now unreachable and they are related or connected through a parent agent, we'll send you one notification stating all the other child agents that are now unreachable. This is something that we've enabled for any personal notifications or notifications that are not incident management type integrations. And additionally, now we've released a feature where you can configure what the reachability timeout should be. In the past, we had 30 seconds as a default timeout, and we would trigger those notifications. But now, whether it is at a space level or a per room level, you can have different timeouts to say, okay, all the data agents or nodes within this room should receive reachability or unreachability triggers only after 45 seconds or 1 minute. It could depend on your network. It could depend on the type of data center or the type of infrastructure that is being hosted. So this is some kind of flexibility and configurability that we are now providing. And it'll be good for all of you to try this out.
I think there are a few questions, Satya. So maybe we
Okay,
can take them.
let's take the next few questions. Let me go from where we had. Okay, just give me a moment.
So there was a question by Jonat earlier on.
Okay, let me put that on the screen.
Yeah, so I asked on chat what kind of changes, and the answer was basically that monitoring, adding a custom collector is kind of hard right now. Documentation is, well, it's there, I know, but it's not necessarily easy access. You need to know a little bit about how Netdata works internally in order to get this up and running. So I don't foresee that we will do a lot of change in this area. However, we are working on better integration with industry standards, primarily open telemetry and open metrics. What we see is that the industry is moving in that direction. We've been working on this silently for a bit to see how that would fit nicely into our agent, and so going forward we will probably focus mostly on this, so that you can create metric sources, whether you can call them a collector or not, but metric sources that basically emit their metrics in an OpenTelemetry compatible fashion. Hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Rolf. I think the next question. Yeah, I mean, okay, I think the short answer would be no. Is that we definitely want to differentiate what are enterprise level and professional features versus what would be a community or a home labber set of requirements. as you know, as I mentioned previously, I think Netdata is trying to differentiate, and basically we've started replacing some of the bigger or more established monitoring solutions as a de facto monitoring solution. So I think going forward, you will see more and more enterprise features coming into the product, and definitely only available to, let's say, our business or enterprise users. Of course, if you want to have, let's say, initial quick access to try them out, do reach out to us. We're more than happy to, bump you up to a trial, or even some kind of beta access on some of our new features. But for this question specifically, we don't intend to add any additional, let's say, enterprise level features into Home Lab or the community plan. Okay, quickly going to a couple of other questions. There's a lot of appreciation from the community. We thank you guys. We've worked really hard, but it wouldn't have been possible without you. I think great feedback coming in from all of you all the time just helps us to improve the product.
I want to give a special shout out for all the early beta users of the Windows agent. We were handing out a few early releases. They were very patient in waiting a long time for the beta releases, and there was also a lot of good feedback.
Okay, I'm now bumping on the screen on another question. It's related to Windows, and it's about monitoring MS SQL. And the question is it secure to use this Windows plugin in production environments? I would give the short answer, and maybe Rolf, you will provide a long answer. The short answer is yes. I think we have a fully, a certified solution now on Windows with the native Windows agent, and you can use them on any production systems. And for the long answer, Rolf.
And I believe we already have users who have started to monitor MS SQL servers with the new Windows agent.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. The question doesn't really go into what is meant by secure, but we do our utmost to make the Windows agent a full-fledged agent, just as you are used to in Linux, and that also goes for our collectors. We will continuously add new stuff. There are some requests, for example, specifically on monitoring services in a better way. Of course, that's entirely different from the way that Linux does this. So it will take some time for us to get there, but we will do that.
Great, thanks, Rolf. Let me highlight the next one on the screen. It's related to the silencing rules.
Yeah, so as I responded in the chat already, the answer is no. We will not send notifications that have been suppressed retroactively. So what you will see is new notifications. So if an alert is fired while the silencing rule was in place, then you would not later get a notification of it going to that state. However, of course, when there are updates, like it goes back to clear or to a different state, then you will get that notification. Of course, pending your configuration of which type of notifications you want to receive.
Thanks, Rolf. I think there's a specific question about configuring Netdata on local hosts to monitor multiple servers. I would assume we take this on Discord or community or on any of our channels, just to understand a little bit more. Or maybe we can, I don't know, Rolf, if you have an opportunity, maybe respond on the chat.
Well, I can quickly go into this, and we can deepen this in Discord, of course. But the way that Netdata is created is basically you run Netdata agent on the machines that you monitor. We do have collectors for monitoring remote services. For example, if you want to monitor RDS in AWS, obviously you cannot, run the agent on the machines that are purposed for RDS. So we allow you to remotely connect to that Postgres instance. But for server monitoring, in principle, we expect the agent to run on the machine itself. For devices, as Satya already mentioned, we also have been working on the SNMP collector, and there will be additional ways to monitor services that are on remote devices in a similar manner.
Yeah. Thanks, Rolf. Okay, I think there's a question from Lewis on the possibility of having a PowerShell plugin.
Yeah, I can take this one. So I really like this idea. I think in a way you can already accomplish this because there are a few PowerShell Prometheus clients to kind of collect metrics from PowerShell scripts and then expose them in the open metrics format. But ideally, I believe something like this should be a native capability in Netdata. So, yep, thanks for the tip. We're definitely going to look into it, Luis.
Yeah, and I think we will also add, functions that are, more tailored to whatever is available in the Windows environment, similar to the ones that we right now have for processes and network connections and so on.
Thanks, Rolf. I think the next one is more for me and Sham. Yes, Don. So we intend to have a dedicated, let's say, office hours to show our roadmap, and we'll also have a public roadmap update in the coming weeks. So we'll be more than happy to share it with you. If you want it earlier, Don, reach out to us on one of the channels, and I'll be more than happy to maybe get on a call or even share what we have on our roadmap. We are extremely excited about what's coming in, and yes, so if you need to look at it early, we'll be more than happy to have a session with you. Okay. Let me quickly now go to the last sections. Yeah, Sham, Rolf, you want to take the Unicode support and the configuration updates?
Sure. So the Unicode support basically means that we've lifted some of the restrictions on particularly label values, so that things look a lot better for those that have data sources that use more than just ASCII. I cannot say much more than this, but that's what this is about.
And I think your favorite topic, Rolf, about unit specifications.
Yeah, this is a small piece of the puzzle. We're continuously expanding on this, but we have been working in the background on overhauling the way that we use units inside of the agent and throughout the platform. And this is one of those items that came out of it. So we try to show things a bit more human friendly. In the back, we basically are switching slowly to a unit system that is aligned with OpenTelemetry. OpenTelemetry exclusively uses so-called UCUM units. They're basically a scientific standard for expressing units, and we want to build on top of that to uniformly deal with units in the metrics that we expose.
Yeah. Thanks, Rolf. I think we move to the acknowledgements. As you can see, we've had various contributions. And one of the things that we've added is the iAlert notification integration. We've worked with the iAlert team we also have this integration on Netdata Cloud. So for all of those, I don't know, PagerDuty and other incident management integration folks, we've heard quite a bit about iAlert recently. We've had a few customers who've asked for this. So we also have this new notification integration if you want to try out. I think we also have iAlert team on the stream today. So thank you guys for helping us out with this integration. Yeah, there have been, as usual, a number of contributions that have happened, of course, by our own engineering team, but also from others in the community. As you
I
can
think you can actually see, we've added a few new collectors. So of course, for Windows, we had to add Windows Events Log Explorer, but there's also new collectors for MaxScale, Nginx Unit, TypeSense. And as part of this ongoing initiative that we have within Netdata, a lot of the older Python collectors have now been migrated to or rewritten in Go, so that they're more high performance, and they run more optimally.
Yes, and another reason maybe also from thing is also it makes it easy for us to maintain, and hopefully that becomes the de facto plugin where users can start adding in their custom collectors as well.
Yeah, it was actually, it made things a bit easier on the Windows side to have all the Go collectors. It was much more seamless moving them over.
Absolutely. So these are some of the collector stuff. I'm not going to go through all of them. We've had a number of improvements. I think you will start noticing them in terms of performance, in terms of capabilities that have come in. Also, I think we've only listed a few bug fixes. There have been way more than those. Yeah, all in all, I think it's been a great couple of months for us in terms of the number of improvements, the number of capabilities that we've been able to introduce, and hopefully, the community that we have in here will recognize the hard work that has gone in and see a difference in what Netdata as an observability solution works as for them. Yes, I think we've kind of come more or less to the end, and I think it's important to go through the deprecation notice. As you can see, we have the new v3 dashboards with Netdata 2.0. So some of the older dashboards and some of the older version APIs will be deprecated in the next release, which is Netdata 2.1. So for all of those, if you have created any of your custom integrations using some of the older APIs, this is the time to move to the v3 APIs. Right? I don't know, Rolf, do you want to add anything more on the dashboards and the APIs?
No, I think this statement is relatively clear. People might have questions, and we will be looking specifically at, let's say, other integrations that are making use of these APIs that are being deprecated, so they don't break. It's not always easy for us to gather up which things basically use the Netdata API in the agent directly, because obviously it is a local thing. I'm aware of a few, and they would need to be adjusted. I don't think they are large adjustments, but for sure, not everything will work seamlessly. It will require some changes in places here and there. It's not like you can switch out V1 for V3 and then be done with it.
Yep. Thanks, Rolf. And I think we already mentioned we've rewritten a number of collectors in Go. And so some of the Python collectors will be deprecated. We would rather recommend you to use the newer Go versions of these plugins.
Yeah, and I want to stress here that we do not have plans to deprecate the Python, plugin itself. So you should still be able to write collectors in this. It's just that for our internal maintenance efforts, it's easier to basically standardize on a single deployment environment, and so we are moving towards Go for our default collectors, but it doesn't mean that you cannot write Python D1s.
Yeah, I think we've come more or less to the end of our release meetup. I think I'll go back to the questions and see if we have any new questions in here. Okay, I think about units. Lewis has a question, but I think you've already answered, Rolf. On
Yeah. We sorted it, but in short, this is basically extending the story about why we are moving towards the OpenTelemetry unit system. We also want this to drive parts of the UI, so that because we now have knowledge about what a unit is exactly about, we can also say things like, well, oh, this is the temperature. Maybe we should not offer the sum aggregation because it doesn't make sense.
Okay, we have a question about improvements for Proxmox in nested containers.
I am not aware of any changes in that direction right now. But if you have specific, desires here, I think the best way is to file a feature request for this.
Yes, that'll be good to understand. We actually have some of our biggest customers monitoring their virtual machines on Proxmox. We haven't heard a lot of complaints about it, but I'm sure there are improvements that we can add to this. So yeah, like Rolf mentioned, if you can create a feature request for us, we'll be more than happy to work on these. Okay, I think that's more or less the questions that we have now. We have 10 more minutes, so now if there are any further questions.
There is one question that just popped up, is whether we consider 2.0.0 the new stable. The answer is yes.
Yes.
We continue to have nightlies, which are now also 2.0.0 instead of the 1.99 that we created, moving towards 2.0. But now it's out. We consider it stable, and that also affects, of course, which supported versions we have in cloud. We haven't updated that yet. Just we keep it for a few weeks, and then we will move that as well. But yes.
Okay.
I think Don's question here is similar to the one that we had before about a roadmap.
I think it actually came from Don, if I'm not wrong. So maybe just a quick, I can give some quick highlights, right? So we have a lot of enhancements around logs monitoring and logs management. Basically creating metrics from logs, hopefully alerting from logs, a number of things around logs.
Custom dashboards around logs.
Yes. So a lot of things around logs. We also have a number of other features. Of course, I'm not yet talking about the timelines, and in no particular order. Logs is something that we are actively working on right now. We also have the contextual dashboard, which we've been talking about for quite some time, to be able to seamlessly, let's say, move between metrics and logs and other aspects of the UI for the component that you're looking to troubleshoot. This is something that is also of extreme importance to us. We are also, now building a thorough, let's say, backlog of items on the APM space, which is only coming sometime next year. But we already are kind of looking at brainstorming, putting together a list of things that we need to do for us to support tracing and other aspects of APM. That's also something that's coming in. I think tons of other features around, or let's say capabilities around open telemetry support, which Rolf was talking about, to start off with metrics compatibility, and then also with logs and hopefully at some time tracing and other aspects. So this is, I think, just things at the top of my mind, but we'll have a more detailed discussion, like I mentioned, around our roadmap, and we'll also make it public very, very soon. Okay, I think I don't know, Don, if that helped, but this is just, let's say, a quick summary. We can probably gather one-on-one for a more detailed discussion and also get your feedback on what you think about it. There's also a question that comes from Richard.
Yeah, I can take this one. So we recently fixed a lot of issues around stuck alerts, and they should all be in the current release. However, the only lever that you have as a user to actually trigger a sync, so to say, is basically restoring the agent. And that would allow the agent to send what it thinks is the reality to cloud, and then the cloud can compare this, and then if there's a mismatch, they will sync up. But if you encounter this, please let us know, because we've already solved a few things, and we hope that that this is a thing of the past.
Yes, it should definitely be a thing of the past. I think we've changed our alert protocol to a big extent to solve some of these. But if you still see any stuck alerts with Netdata 2.0 or later, do reach out to us. Yeah, hopefully it's a thing of the past. And also thanks, Don, for giving some information on what you're doing. I think we'll definitely be good for us to catch up after this meetup to discuss more on what is it that is coming up and how we can kind of align on the work being put together. That's great. I think these were the questions that we had for now. We can take a few more questions if there are any, and if not, you can always reach out to us on community, on Discord, on any of the channels that is, let's say, relevant to you, and we'll be more than happy to help. I believe that's all we have. Thanks, Shyam. Thanks, Rolf, for your time and your insights. And thank you, everyone, for being here, and more importantly, supporting us and helping us with creating what we think will be the future of observability. So thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much. And if anybody has any other follow-up questions, feel free to drop us an email. We can jump on a call and sort out things. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a great day. Cheers.
Bye-bye.